Hello, my name is Jessica Flaherty. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm a board certified behavior analyst and doctoral student at the University of Washington. I have brown straight hair, wearing wire rimmed glasses, and a black t-shirt. Today, I'm going to present on exploring the space where gender and neurodiversity meet for the AIR-P Research Day at Autism Cares 2022. The intentional use of language is important to me and to this study, so I want to start by sharing some definitions from the Human Rights Campaign Glossary of Terms. Sex assigned at birth refers to the sex that a doctor or midwife uses to describe a child at birth based on their external anatomy. Gender identity, however, relates to one's innermost concept of self. This is how we perceive, think, and talk about our own selves. So gender expression then is the external manifestation of that gender identity. This shows up in the way that we dress, behave, move, sound, and so on. These are things that we all experience, but it's important to note that our gender identity is not defined, set by, or bound to our sex assigned at birth. A person whose gender identity aligns with the sex assigned to them at birth is referred to as cisgender. And while there are several different ways for identity and expression to misalign with sex, transgender serves as an umbrella term. So it encompasses people whose gender identity or expression is different from cultural expectations based on the sex they were assigned at birth. And this misalignment of identity and cultural expectations can cause trans individuals significant clinical distress, which is often referred to as gender dysphoria. Gender nonconforming is another broad term referring to people whose gender expression doesn't neatly fit into a category. In this presentation and in my work, I'm going to use the term gender diversity in a way that encompasses gender nonconforming and trans people. Because the language can be difficult to grasp and because my identity is important to my positionality in this work, I want to share it with you. My sex assigned at birth is female. My gender identity is non-binary, which for me falls under the gender nonconforming and transgender umbrellas. And my gender expression encompasses the ways that I choose to act on, present, and show my identity. I'm intrigued in the interesting relationship between neuro and gender diversity. Gender nonconforming people are 3 to 6 times more likely to have autism than cisgender people. And people with autism report more fluid sexuality and gender identities than people who identify as neurotypical. When asked about their experiences, gender neurodiverse adolescents report feelings of gender nonconformity before the onset of puberty, vivid experiences of gender dysphoria, and fears expressing their gender identity in public. This work has also shed light on the ways that the interplay of gender diversity and neurodiversity creates specific challenges and barriers that are unique to the intersectional experience. The field of behavior analysis primarily provides services to the neurodiverse population. Yet our research, education, and applied practices have historically ignored additional facets of their identity and lived experiences. We know that many autistic individuals will experience gender diversity, but we do not know how best to support them in this. I believe we have an ethical obligation to prioritize and attend to the experiences that live within the intersectional space, because a lot of our learners will inhabit it. The most reasonable first step for me is to position gender neurodiverse individuals as the central source of knowledge. My study aims to explore and document the experiences of gender neurodiverse adolescents and their caregivers via focus groups to gain a deeper understanding of the common struggles and triumphs associated with accessing affirming care. 1-hour virtual focus group sessions will contain approximately 6 to 8 participants each. Intersectional teen groups and caregiver groups will meet separately. Session transcripts will be analyzed using constant comparative analysis to create themes. that will then be shared with participants to ensure that their experience has been reported authentically. Focus group questions and prompts are purposed to dive into participants' priorities, values, and needs, and highlight the ways in which they feel best supported, celebrated, and protected by their service providers. Ultimately, I want to take the themes from this study to future focus groups of providers to explore how we contact and receive this topic, collectively make meaning and value around it, and understand its relationship within and to our fields of practice. But the limitations of the current study lie heavily in the inclusion criteria, which excludes individuals who communicate through non-traditional modes. So future inquiry would benefit from including avenues of participation for them. I'm very interested in a collective conversation around how the intersectionality of gender diversity and autism might influence assessment and services for an individual. Even further, I'm wondering, what is the role and obligation of interventionists in advocating for a client in their gender journey? And then lastly, I could really use help considering how we can shift this conversation to better include individuals who use alternative modes of communication, individuals with intellectual disabilities and/or significant support needs. This conversation feels incomplete without that. So an honest thank you from me for engaging in this work with me. I truly appreciate it. And I'd love to talk to you further. So if you have questions, things you'd like to discuss, if you would like to see a list of the focus group prompts, just reach out, contact me via email, and have a really great time at the conference. Thank you.